Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Look, I used to be a pulpit preacher, and we would have altar call, and people would come to the altar, and periodically they would ask you to pray for them for a particular situation or thing. You do that frequent, and you'll find out that what you're basically hearing and the requests that are being made are about the same kinds of things, for different people, but the same kinds of things. And they are those things that have some impact within our lives. And so you find yourself taking that message on your knees, praying to God. Well, sometimes you get that reference. I don't know where that reference came from. I know you see it in the church. I've always seen it. Sometimes they're standing. Sometimes they go in a closet, or sometimes they go outside, or sometimes they never open their mouths. They just pray within. But for some strange reason, it was one of those moments that I was considering prayers and talking to God about them when it hit me that it didn't make any sense. And the reason it didn't make any sense is because these were constant prayers that were constantly going up by many times the same people over and over and over and over again. So my question is, why are people begging God? God, this wonderful God, why are people begging God? This loving, all merciful God, why are people begging Him? Give it some thought, listening for the Spirit to speak to me. And the answer came. God wasn't delivering. Now, that doesn't mean that God does not deliver answers to prayers, but God chooses. Now, you might say, well, why is God choosing? I'll tell you this, ladies and gentlemen. Your prayers are not answered because you are the answer. You are the answer. Listen to me. Every situation in this life that is messed up, you and I, some way, somehow, played a part in it. So all of the pain and all of the suffering that goes on in America, you and I played a major part in it. Better yet, all of the suffering and all of the pain from the many people all over the earth, I want you to know that it is people all over the earth that's causing that pain. Well, you might say, well, I'm not doing anything. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you know there's something called a New World Order. It's not really new. It's the world order that started from the beginning. And here, the first deceptive act, it was a New World Order, founded on a deception and propped up with money and backed up with a bullet or a knife. That's the world we live in. And anybody telling you about God is not going to tell you the truth. And the reason they're not going to tell you the truth is because they don't know the truth. They have been stood up, set up to preach the gospel and the message that they have been taught. And it didn't come from the Spirit. It came from the Master. That's the message that we keep teaching in the churches that keep people in bondage. Obey those that got control over you. Obey your master. All that old kind of crazy stuff. When the truth tells you got one master, and that's the Lord God Almighty, invisible. And there's no individual anywhere over this earth that has power over you, nor any system on this earth that violates God's rule. got authority over you, whoever you are. No man or no system. First of all, and no man got no rule over you. No system got no rule over you that does not line up or is in violation. And every system of government on the face of the earth is in violation of God. Not at every point. Not at every point. So when what is being done within the system is the same thing that would be done within God's system, it's the same thing. Somebody say, well, it's part of the system, but it doesn't have the same outcome. It doesn't have the same outcome. Well, at that moment in time, it has the same outcome. In other words, if a man is hungry, am I to give him a piece of bread or not give him a piece of bread? Do I not give him a piece of bread because it means that perhaps God didn't give him the bread, but I did instead? An individual did instead? Or should I just take him whole with whole and wait till God put bread in his hand? Well, I ask you this. If he ever had bread in his hand, who took it out? Either he ate it up or somebody got it out. And if he has none, and if the invisible power is going to put bread in his hand, it needs a you or you or you to put it in there. But here's the trick. Here's the trick. We start talking about, is this of the world or is this of God? You see, what is happening in this moment, in this time that is of the world, is predicated on something best that is happening at the same time, and that's the change, whereby we moving from this to the real thing, to the truth. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me get that right down to what I've been talking about 7 minutes. Let me see, get that right down to what I want to talk to you about. Look, this is what is very important to me, ladies and gentlemen. You. I have seen some people happy, and I've seen some people sad. I've seen some people laughing, and I've seen some people crying. Now, laughing and happy is wonderful to me. So, for some strange reason that's exciting to me, I think of every American. Now, when I say American, I want you to know that I'm talking about people all over the earth. Then the truth that I speak is applicable to people all over the earth. However, so you don't get no misunderstanding, I say America, because I'm talking to you right here where we are. Because I'm telling you, nobody outside these borders want to hear us say a word. They would love to look at us if we got something to see. Now, I'm not talking about a clown. I'm talking about something to see. That has always been a thing for me. I haven't seen too many people have that ambition, to see. I never see too many people talking about, I want to see the world happy. Now, I've read a few books, they talk about the Brave New World. That's about the closest movie that I have seen that came to something like that, and even people didn't want that. And I've read about utopian and stuff like that. But even that, and even though there's some smart gentlemen around here, I see them on the internet all the time. And since I can't call all of their names, I'm not going to highlight any of them. But that's right on it. But they're still talking like I be talking. But I want more than talk. I want to see this world change. So here's where I'm at, ladies and gentlemen. I see what we've been going through all of your life. If you're under 70 years, I've seen what's been going through all of your life, and I know what's been going through all of mine. And I definitely don't want to repeat another year of it, one way or another. And I don't want any of you to have to repeat another day of it. So what I propose is that we center on our own lives. We center on our own lives. And we are not looking, I'm asking you to consider, not looking for anybody to do anything for your life like making your life great. No anybody promising you that they're going to guarantee you this or promise that they're going to do this or that when it's requiring some input from some other people that might have some objections with it. We don't want any of that. Let's put that stuff aside. Let's put it aside. This could be a game, maybe could not be a game, but it doesn't work for us. So let's make it work for us. Okay? Let's take it, and our focus is to make sure that every individual, now when I say every individual, I'm talking about every individual. If you're a human being, then I'm talking about you. Even if you're a baby just coming into the world, we know you're going to grow up. At least we're going to do everything we possibly can to see that you do. And we want to make sure that not a single individual on this face of America ever be without food. Now, understand, we're going to have to change our system because the system that we live under today, it is no way in heaven that this system could produce what heaven could produce. And that's what I'm talking about, the best. You and I and all of my brothers and sisters, whites and blacks and Asians and Russians and Chinese and all of us, we really deserve, well, I ain't gonna say we deserve, but the best has been prepared for us. Now, in order for us to get it, we got to line up. It's not falling out into some of us. These are games that's being played, ladies and gentlemen. Any game that's being played that is, you ain't getting nothing. In other words, this is what I'm saying. The game that I'm telling you about is like this. It's like a football game. Let me think of a team. Let me say the San Francisco 49ers when they had Jerry Rice. I just say Jerry Rice because he's back in my time and he was good. A lot of others too, but I know him. From Mississippi Valley State. And let's say San Francisco 49ers and the Minnesota Vikings. Okay? Now, you know, the statistics will say that if that game was played, Minnesota is going to get beat. They're going to get beat and probably beat bad. But what I'm telling you about is approaching the game. Excuse me. So when the game is played, every man is putting his heart in it. Every position is played the best it could be. And at the end of the game, it might be San Francisco that come away with the high score. But at the end of the game, the Minnesota Vikings are just as thrilled and happy as San Francisco 49ers. And they all embracing and patting each other on the back. What a wonderful game, and all the people. There's nobody up there talking about anything. But that was a fine game. In other words, there were no losers. The opportunity was coming in playing the game. So some had higher numbers. One had higher numbers than other. So what? You played the game. You had a ball. So it's not about money. It's about doing what you do because you love doing it. And it is what all of us desire and want. So what I'm saying to you, ladies and gentlemen, let us step aside and guarantee to each of us allowing that spiritual thought. It is not coming from the government. It's a thought that's coming from the spirit. Now, it's coming out of my mouth. It's coming out of my mouth. But here's what makes it say come from the spirit. Because it's talking about you. It's not talking about blessing us without them. It's talking about you. What's coming out of my mouth is talking about you. I said food for everybody. That's you. Shelter for everybody. That's you. Education for everybody. That's you. Darn. Healthcare for everybody. That's you. How do you do this? Who benefits from it? You benefit. So, how does that work? Well, since you benefit, you play a part in the process of its manifestation. In other words, you engage yourself in a career. But here's the kick. The career that you engage yourself in, you've already been designed for a particular career that gives you your greatest joy. And so when you know you can do what you want to do, it's not easy to identify. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. And all of those I want to do fall right in line with careers and everything that's already been established. And what it does is open up the doors so that every individual that's at a workable situation, old enough and stuff like this, ready to go into it, can go straight into it. Any training that is necessary, the school's open to give them any training that they require to be the best at whatever it is that they are going to do in this process. Yes. Why? Because they're going to be the best. We're going to have fun doing this. And everything is provided for by us. It's the Spirit living in us, producing through us everything that gives us our needs, our wants, and our desires. Brings us complete peace and prosperity and freedom and joy of life and the fulfillment of our dreams. It does all that, ladies and gentlemen. And without money, we don't have to be deceived, because nobody needs to deceive anybody, because they got what they want and need. They ain't got nowhere to keep anything extra. They don't have a reason to lie. They don't have a reason to cheat. They don't have a reason to steal. They don't have a reason to sell out. They don't have a reason to be bought. They don't have a reason to be a racist or a bigot or a hater. None of that exists, because all of that exists is when you put man at odds with man. You put mankind at odds with mankind. And all of these things come out. All of this stuff come out. You at odds. All you're trying to do is survive, but somebody has tricked you in not knowing that you tricked. You're going at each other, and he's half, and whoever's tricking you, well, if they're using money, they got all the money. Okay? Now, I want you to know that God is saying, identify that. Stop being tricked. Come together as one. And baby, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. It's not a prayer any longer. It's a reality. So I'm asking every last one of you who just heard my voice to engage yourself right now and start thinking about this, what I'm sharing with you. And we can't, right now, your main focus is the election. It really doesn't matter who wins, but you got your mind made up on the one that you're going to vote for. Now, you go out there and do that. And whoever wins, wins. But it's time for us to get busy. Let us start sharing with one another what's going on. Now, since I've been doing this for about 30, 40 years, I'm speaking the same message throughout all these years that I just shared with you. It's not about me. It's not about my black brothers and sisters. It's not about me being the original man or nothing. It's about every human being loving life. And if white people having access to all the stuff they want to sit over there as a big old beautiful bouquet of white flowers or white people, let them sit over there, wherever that spot is. And hope it's a beautiful spot. And if you got some Asian people, I don't know, let me just identify them like that, and they just want to stay with Asian people because they feel comfortable or something like that, that ain't got nothing to do with us. These people are happy. And if there's a bunch of black people that don't want to be integrated with anybody else, they stay right there, wherever that spot is. Have your, wherever, live. And then that part of the land space, the geography where people feel comfortable being a bouquet of some of every last one of these beautiful people, come together and be a bouquet. Be your bouquet. Now, you know why that bouquet is so beautiful? That bouquet is beautiful, so beautiful, because it is represented by this group and 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 this group. All of those groups came together and gave you a bouquet of beauty. Oh, now they have beauty in their individual perspectives, individual looks. They are beautiful, but it ain't nothing like this bouquet. No, baby, it's nothing like this bouquet. So I'm asking you, let us consider being like that. Let us consider at this day and at this time, ladies and gentlemen, now, especially you poor people who've been poor all your life. Then those of you who've been poor, but you're doing a little bit better. And all the way up to those of you who will pay your bills, and you're not really living from paycheck to paycheck, you're doing a little bit better than that. But you can bet your last money you're going through the changes. Oh, let us just think about it. This day, in this time, you and I, here, 2020, getting ready to go into 2021, that we took the bull by the horn. Somebody might say, grabbed him by the And you know what? We rode that monkey. Yes, we did. What we do? We led him straight down to the way of life that is paradise. We did it. Let us do it. Let us do it. Forget about everything that they did yesterday. Forget about the slavery, the racism. Let's forget about all of it. And right now, let's imagine for a day or two, or as long as need, a week. Come on, seriously now. And then let us start putting into action that in this day and in this time, no matter what we used to be, what we were doing yesterday, or even what we were doing a few minutes ago, from now on, we're going to be preparing and doing that which creates heaven right here, that makes the world beautiful. Nobody did it but us. Nobody did it but us. Let's do it. What about it? Amen. Amen.